Good morning. I just want to go over this Comet Lecture, talk to you about some basics and some of the characteristics of comets. So we've got an image here. Comets are mixtures of ice, dust, and rock. They have a lot of ice and a lot of gases trapped within the body of the comet. So it's similar to an asteroid, but much more ice and frozen water. Comets warm up as they get closer to the sun, causing a bright tail. And we see this bright tail coming off of the comet as its orbit gets closer to the sun. Now, we're pretty close to the sun as far as orbits go, so when the comet gets near us, oftentimes we can see these bright tails. Now, when it's further away in its orbit, you wouldn't see those tails, because this is all gas and debris that's coming off the comet. All right, comets have two tails, and you see them both in this image. The bright dust tail curves away from the path of the comet. So the comet, in this case, might be traveling in this direction, and this bright debris trail kind of goes over to the side. It goes back and then out. And what we see in this image here, we see our dust tail, but then we also see what's called an ion tail. The ion tail is weird. The ion tail is always pointed away from the sun. So even if the comet is traveling in this direction, that way, the ion tail points away from the sun, because that's charged particles. So it's not affected by the movement of the comet, it's affected by the sunlight that's hitting the comet. Okay, let's go to our next page here. The orbits of comets is much different than the planets. So we see the planets here that are in elliptical orbits, but they're closer to circular. Like, we can see them as circles, even though they're not perfect circles. They're elliptical. Comets are very unusual. They have these big, long orbits that bring them close to the sun, and then they go back shooting out away from the sun. So comets have long, highly elliptical orbits, and these orbits can range over a huge number. So orbits can range from 75 to 76 years to 1,000,000 years. So anywhere from decades to millions of years. It just depends. So very different than the planets. And then down here, we have Edmund Halley, who was the first to really classify Halley's Comet. Now, people before Edmund Halley saw Halley's Comet. We can trace this back in history. But he was the first to really categorize it and realize this was the same comet that was coming by Earth year after year. So Halley's Comet is one of the more famous comets and can be traced back in history. Halley's Comet can be seen from Earth every 76 years. All right, I hope this gives you a little introduction to comets. Thank you.